Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our rundown of this Sunday's epic encounters at York Hall. We've said it's super fight season. We've said there's that buzz, that energy in the air, and the time is nearly upon us. We have so much to run through, and as always, I'm joined by Andy. Andy Quilden, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's fight week, isn't it, here at Revolution Pro Wrestling? But for Rev Pro, it's been more than fight week, hasn't it? Because the last few weeks, ever since the top of the month, really, we've been action from the word go. We've seen some spectacular shows, and it feels like it's all about to climax this Sunday at York Hall, Bethnal Green. The name of the show's Epic Encounter, and it will absolutely live up to that billing because we're going to have 8 epic encounters this Sunday at York Hall.
8 epic encounters, and every single title in Revolution Pro Wrestling is on the line. So let's start with one of those title matches now. As we saw go down at the 2-9 on Sunday, Sky Smithson ruining that match to determine who would actually be the #1 contender at York Hall. And as a result, we now have this blockbuster, one of our main events. We have a 4-way elimination match to unify the Southside Women's Championship and the British Women's Championship. We have Southside Women's Champion Sky Smithson, British Women's Champion Alex Windsor, Danny Luna, and Hyan. It's fatal 4-way elimination, and as we can reveal now, it's no disqualification, with the caveat that eliminations can occur over the top rope. This one is going to be an epic encounter.
Yeah, at the end of the day, on Sunday, July 9th, finally we will answer the question as to who is the true, unified and undisputed British Women's Champion. The time for questions will be over and we will have our answer, but who is it going to be that stands tall at the end of the night, at the end of Epic Encounter? And for me, really, it's one of those pick 'em contests. It could be any of these 4 women. They all have a real claim to be in the best playing their trade right now across Europe. I mean, look, let's just run down the competitors. We've got Sky Smithson, Southside Women's Champion. She's a woman who really wants to have some respect put on her name. She's a woman who's feels she's got a point to prove. She wants to just end any discussion that anyone is on her level. And we saw the way she attacked Danny Luna and Hyan. We thought she was trying to backdoor her way out of having to defend that Southside Women's Championship at York Hall, Bethnal Green. But instead, she invited one more competitor, Alex Windsor, the undisputed British Women's Champion, a controversial champion, I might add. You can't deny the fact that Alex Windsor earned her right to be called British Women's Champion, but she's been on the shelf for a long, long period of time. And due to that Southside Women's Championship being in existence, she was actually I think 48 hours away from a unification match for that championship when she pulled up injured. And due to that Southside Women's Championship being a thing, we haven't felt the need to strip her as the champion of the championship belt, which would be more customary in these situations. So there are a lot of questions about Alex Windsor as well. Is she 100%? You know, we know she's only just been cleared. We know it's a matter of days since she's been cleared. We know she's been working towards it and been close to it for about a month now. But, you know, is this too soon for Alex Windsor? Some people, when they come back from injury, they like to have tune-up matches. But, you know, like I say, I know Danny Luna, a former Southside Women's Champion, has got it in for Alex Windsor as well, because of the way Alex Windsor spoke about her championship being the proper championship, unlike the Southside Women's Championship, which Danny Luna held with pride and did a great job in, I believe, lifting and elevating that championship and in turn the division as well, with her reign as Southside Women's Champion. And she obviously took exception to those words from Alex Windsor. So there's a bit of bad blood there. And of course, Hyan, you know, she's been on a fantastic run since returning to Revolution Pro Wrestling. She, you know, came close. She's defeated Sky Smithson, the Southside Women's Champion, in non-title competition. She came close to defeating her in St. Neots when well, she did defeat her, but she won by count-out. Of course, championships don't change hands via count-out. So look, this contest is going to be no count-outs. So, you know, that discussion's out the window. There's going to be no disqualifications. You know, so the champion loses their advantage, and also it's going to be definitive because there's going to be elimination rules. So the champion will have to be eliminated from the contest to lose. So, you know, I think it's going to be fireworks. I think you're not going to know where to look. It's going to be organized chaos, so to speak. But like I say, the most important thing is that come the end of Sunday, July the 9th, we have one true, unified and undisputed women's champion here in Rev Pro.
Absolutely. When the dust settles, there'll be no question as to who can call themselves the undisputed British Women's Champion with both belts held aloft. And I think you're right there about Skye Smithson, you know, just wanting respect as the champion. And another set of champions in Revolution Pro Wrestling that have been talking about respect are the undisputed British Tag Team Champions, the Greedy Souls, Brendan White and Danny Jones. We've said so many times it's lonely at the top of the mountain. They've said week after week, even jumping on commentary to say, look, who else is there for us to beat? We've beaten everyone. Enter Subculture, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, now Greedy Souls have got a problem with that. But, you know, they wanted fresh and new competition. They've got fresh and new competition in form of Flash Morgan Webster, of course, already a former champion in Rev Pro, a former undisputed British Cruiserweight champion, and Mark Andrews, two of the most talented individuals. But whilst they've been away from Rev Pro, they have formed into a well-polished and world-class tag team. And this is a type of, I guess, the type of puzzle which is difficult for the Greedy Souls to solve, because, you know, when it's all well and good, normally Greedy Souls have the experience edge in terms of working together as a team, because, you know, there's no secret that Danny Jones and Brendan White are best friends. They work out together, they train together, they strategize together. They're, for all intents and purposes, a proper tag team, and they have almost transformed the other's career, because, you know, as a tag team, they've really found an identity, they've really found a niche, they've really found something that they work so well at. We've seen it not necessarily fare as well for them in singles competition as it does in tag team competition. I think that's just a testament to how well they mesh together as a team, and they're able to take people by the elements of surprise a lot. But what they're now, they're the champions, they've lost that element of surprise, but it hasn't stopped them being successful. As they alluded to, they feel they've wiped out the entire tag team division. So as you said, enter Subculture. And what Subculture have got the opportunity to do is turn things on its head, because now Subculture are the unknown quantity. And they've been scouting the Greedy Souls the whole time. They've been scouting the Greedy Souls. They were wanting to get into Revolution Pro Wrestling. They were wanting to take part in the tag team division. The whole time, they've been looking at the team that's on the top of the pile, and the team that's been on top of the pile for a very long time has been Brendan White and Danny Jones. So they're prepared for the Souls. But are the Greedy Souls prepared for Subculture? Because they have to be prepared for any team on any given night. And Gio, you said that the Greedy Souls, another team who feel they've got a point to prove, another team with a chip on their shoulder. You know, that breeds this competitiveness, that breeds these great matches and fuels the intensity that we're no doubt going to see this Sunday. But listen, if Greedy Souls are what they say they are, they're going to have to take on any and all challengers. And this Sunday night is exactly a demonstration of that, because Subculture, their second match into Rev Pro as a unit, are getting an undisputed British Tag Team Championship clash, and it's going to be all kinds of exciting and a great styles clash as well. The power of the Souls, the speed of Subculture. You say it all the time, Gio, styles make matches.
They certainly do, and that is very much the case with this next match I'd like to preview. An absolute dream match if you're into traditional British wrestling, technical wrestling, or really just fantastic professional wrestling, because ZACK SABRE Jr. returns to Revolution Pro Wrestling once more to take on Jordan Breaks. Now, we saw a hint of the magic we're going to see on Sunday in that Revolution Rumble. Jordan Breaks going toe-to-toe, hold for hold with ZACK SABRE Jr. Not many people can say they can do that, but can he do it in a one-on-one environment?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited about this contest, and we've spoken time and time again. It seems like the old cliche, but, you know, wrestling is about, you know, all the different styles that there are, you know, and really we at Revolution Pro Wrestling, we promote and are excited by this hybrid style of wrestling, you know, where people are able to merge all these styles together. We're excited to find out, like in that previous contest we spoke about, what happens when power meets speed, what happens when technique meets power. This is pure technique versus technique, and I feel like it's going to be a very interesting contest. It's going to be a great test for Jordan Breaks. I know that's exactly what he's looking at this contest as, a test, because really we've seen he can match Zack Sabre Jr. hold for hold, and that in and of itself is somewhat of a victory because very few men can do that. We've seen Zack Sabre Jr. make world-class wrestlers look ordinary, but against Jordan Breaks they went toe to toe, hold for hold, and I think that's what we're going to see this Sunday. But the interesting question for Jordan Breaks is, how can he stand up to, quite literally, Zack Sabre Jr.'s stand-up game? Because Zack Sabre Jr. is a dangerous striker. He's rangy. He can hit from distance. He's got those kicks that, you know, you're going to be feeling for days. And I don't think Jordan Breaks has ever really experienced anything like that in his professional wrestling career. Zack Sabre Jr. going to be doing everything he can to make Jordan Breaks his life uncomfortable. Look, we know, we've well documented, Zack Sabre Jr. had an opportunity here to pick who he wanted to compete against. Was it going to be JJ Gale, the man who eliminated him from the Revolution Rumble and the man he left laying, or was it going to be Jordan Breaks, a man that so expertly took him to task on the mat at the Revolution Rumble? And Zack Sabre Jr. chose Jordan Breaks. He's excited by the fresh challenge that is posed to him by Jordan Breaks, by what, you know, the problems that Jordan Breaks poses, the questions he's going to ask of him, you know. And I think it excites Zack Sabre Jr. to have that opportunity against you know, another high level technical wrestler in Jordan Breaks. This is, like I say, technique versus technique, hold and counter hold. This is, you know, a throwback style professional wrestling match. Is going to be a celebration of the British style of professional wrestling, which Zack Sabre Jr. has taken all over the world. And listen, that sentiment is not lost on Jordan Breaks, because Jordan Breaks wants to be the next person to fly the flag for the UK around the wrestling world. And this really could be his coming out party this Sunday at York Hall, Bethnal Green. Stylistically, you cannot have two men more evenly matched. This one is going to be fantastic.
Now, while that's a match that I absolutely can't wait to get my eyeballs on, I'm fairly certain there'll be points in this next match where I'm watching with my hands over my eyes. If the scene we saw in Sheffield is anything to go by, it's Will Ospreay going one-on-one with Leon Slater. Now, this one is personal. This is all about getting back at Dan Maloney, and we saw the message he sent in Sheffield. We've said it before, you don't need to go on Revolution Pro Wrestling On Demand. You can go to Will Ospreay's Instagram and see the live feed of him mugging, assaulting Leon Slater. It was incredibly uncomfortable, and it comes head-to-head at York Hall this Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, look, I want to preface this by saying, anytime you have a chance to see Will Ospreay in action, you should absolutely take it. For my money, the best wrestler in the world right now, and doing it on a consistent night-to-night basis. It doesn't matter the surroundings. You know, it doesn't matter if he's on enemy territory. It doesn't matter if he's in front of sold-out arenas or, you know, or small nightclubs. Will Ospreay, he will get the job done no matter the venue, and he really is on another level right now. But one thing we've learned about Will Ospreay is a man of principle, and he takes things very personally. And he took the fact that Dan Maloney took that offer to join the United Empire and essentially threw it in the bin along with the armband and the T-shirt. You know, he's taken that very, very personally. And whilst he said he's going to let TJP and Francesco Akira take care of business, you know, he's going to be hurting even further by the fact that, you know, Dan Maloney wrestled those IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships out the camp of the United Empire just a couple of days ago in Tokyo. And yeah, he's going to be even more raging. But Will's way to get through to people is a manipulator. He's fantastic at this game of human chess. We've seen him do it against Michael Oku. We've seen him make it personal We've seen him make people fight on emotion, which takes them out their game. We saw him do that with Ricky Knight Jr. But the thing is here, he's not trying to play mind games with his opponent. He's trying to play mind games with a friend of his opponent. And that's a dangerous, dangerous game because perhaps he's overlooking his opponent. I have never seen Leon Slater more fired up and determined about a professional wrestling contest. Normally he's so laid back, normally takes things in his stride. I mean, you could forgive him. Will Ospreay's a man that up until a couple of weeks ago in Sheffield, Leon Slater looked up to, but not anymore, not after those actions. So as far as Leon Slater's concerned, Will Ospreay's just another human being when it comes to this Sunday, July the 9th epic encounter. And I think that stands Leon Slater in tremendous stead. Look, this is a match, the complexity of this contest has entirely changed due to the mugging that Will Ospreay took out on Leon Slater. As you say, it wasn't just a mugging for those in attendance. He made it available worldwide to all his Instagram followers on a live stream. And Leon Slater feels disrespected, he feels upset, and this is his opportunity in his mind to right a wrong. He doesn't feel he needs Dan Maloney to stand up for him, and he wants to spoil that party of Will Ospreay's and that game plan that Will Ospreay's laid out. Listen, on its day, Leon Slater versus Will Ospreay, no backstory, just two professional wrestlers going at it. That's a match in and of itself that you have to go out your way to see. But now we add all these extra combustible elements to it, and this one is absolutely can't miss. Many people call Leon Slater a young Will Ospreay. I see that in Leon Slater as someone who's been around Will Ospreay's career from the very start. I see signs of that from Leon Slater, but I just feel like he's a different animal altogether. I've never seen anyone with such poise, such composure. I've never seen someone just, again, take all these huge contests, these huge opportunities in his stride. And believe me when I say, this is the type of match he needs. This is the type of emotional situation that he needs, because these emotional situations where you have to ride that emotion and you have to ride them to create momentum, to create moments, these situations are what make professional wrestling careers. And this Sunday, July the 9th, the mood Will Ospreay's in right now, this is either going to be the making or the ending of Leon Slater's professional wrestling career. I'm telling you, this one's personal. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be high flying. It's going to be spectacular. You absolutely do not want to miss it this Sunday, July the 9th at York Hall, Bethnal Green.
Absolutely. And I can only imagine the amount of times it's going to be replayed on RevProOnDemand.com. Continuing on with our rundown, we have Luke Jacobs, who we've celebrated his move up to the heavyweight so much. We've been shouting about it from the heavens. He's taking on filthy Tom Lawlor. Now, we talk about stars making matches, and we talk about how Luke Jacobs is on an absolute tear right now. This one, if you're into your fights, I think this is the match for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just as we go in, sometimes it doesn't really register until we do these rundowns and we go from match A to B to C, and you realize this is banger after banger after banger, and stylistically every match is different from the match before it. And that to me is what's so exciting about professional wrestling, is what's so exciting about Revolution Pro Wrestling right now. The depth in talent is amazing, and filthy Tom Lawlor making his Rev Pro debut is someone that I've wanted to bring to Revolution Pro Wrestling for a very long time, and I can't think of a better opponent for him to do this against than Luke Jacobs. These are two stubborn individuals when it comes to their professional wrestling, but their philosophy in the ring is very, very similar. And neither man is going to want to give an inch. Neither man is going to want to back down. It promises to be spectacular. It promises to be technical. It promises to be hard hitting. It's going to tick all the boxes, I'm sure. And for me, it's just another one of those opportunities to create a first-time contest. Right? Think about all those first-time contests we've talked about throughout the years that have taken place at York Hall, Bethnal Green, and those international dream matches and matches that we didn't realize we needed to see until we saw them. This is just another one to add to the list, and it's one of those, again, I said about taking those opportunities to see Will Ospreay. Don't take those for granted. You shouldn't take the opportunity to see dream matches like this between Filthy Tom Lawlor and Luke Jacobs. You should not take opportunities to see a match like this for granted either. Just remember what the life was like, you know, during COVID, coming out of COVID. You know, we thought we weren't going to be able to see these dream matches again, and here we are, Sunday, July the 9th. It's almost 2 years to the day since we, you know, opened our doors back up to the general public in what feels like another lifetime ago. You know, and we're delivering yet another one of those dream matches. I promise you, this one is going to be one of those matches that we're talking about for a long time to come. Another one of those underrated bangers, and another one of those contests that in a few years' time, people are going to be like, I'd really love to see Luke Jacobs go one-on-one with Tom Lawlor. And everyone else in, you know, who was there is like, completed it, mate. Rev Pro. Watch it. RevProOnDemand.com right now. Oh, and while you're there, check out this match, this match, this match, this match, and this match. We are writing history right now. We're making history right now. Everyone who's there live gets to be a part of that history. It's a special time right now.
Absolutely. Get in now. Say you were there first. We have 3 more matches to run through. We've got 2 title matches left. Now, of course, this event taking place at York Hall. The last time we were in York Hall was for that Revolution Rumble, a night of surprises and returns. 2 surprise returns we saw that night were Trent Seven and Sha Samuels, of course. Trent Seven entering at number 7 and Sha Samuels returning at number 30. Both men have been impressive since their return to Revolution Pro Wrestling. And of course, no one takes the opportunity to wrestle at York Hall lightly. So these 2 going one-on-one, again, just another in this list of epic encounters.
Well, listen, Sha Samuels, he calls himself the king of York Halls, responsible for so many moments at York Hall. You know, the East End Butcher, hailing from the East End. It's home territory for Sha Samuels at York Hall, Bethnal Green. And he is raring to go. He wants to test himself against the best. And Sha Samuels, of course, a former longest reigning undisputed British heavyweight champion of all time. The first British champion when we became Revolution Pro Wrestling. He walked into the first ever Revolution Pro Wrestling show at York Hall, Bethnal Green as undisputed British heavyweight champion. And, you know, he wants to get back to the top of the mountain, and we've seen him test himself against some of the very best competitors in the world, and he's going to do it again this Sunday when he goes one-on-one with the pioneer of British strong style. Trent Seven is a man who's had undisputed British heavyweight championship gold within touching distance of him, and again in what feels like a previous lifetime, and he wants to get back to that top of the mountain again, top of that mustache mountain again, I should probably say. And we've seen him in recent weeks picking up big victories. And we've seen him motioning to his waist after winning those matches. Something tells me he's on a bit of a run now with one goal in mind, that undisputed British heavyweight championship. But Sha Samuels, of course, going to look to try and derail him and take himself back to that, you know, back to the top of the mountain. And I think that both men will be very credible challengers to whomever wins that championship match out of Great O'Khan and Michael Oku, which we will talk about shortly. But, you know, both men, I feel, also have a point to prove. And they're both rejuvenated, they're fresh, they're excited, and they can't wait to mix it up. I think this is going to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker between 2 men who will not hold back.
More than ever, we say that wrestlers these days are fighting for legacy, and I don't think that describes anyone better than our undisputed British Cruiserweight champion, Robbie X. He's fighting for legacy. He is fighting to not just match, but surpass Michael Oku's record-setting reign as undisputed British Cruiserweight champion. But there is a man that doesn't care about your legacy. He only cares about himself. He cares about becoming the worst possible version of himself, and that is the challenger this Sunday, True Grit, Connor Mills. Yeah,
I mean, this is going to be a great match. We've seen them, what they're capable of in competition against each other over recent weeks. And Connor Mills has had that Cruiserweight championship in his hands more times than he'd care to remember. Twice he's been declared as a Cruiserweight champion before having the decision rightly reversed and not going his way. He's also held that Cruiserweight championship in his hands a number of times to clock Robbie X over their head with it. Last time we were in York Hall, Bethnal Green, for example, Robbie X was met to the back of the head with a belt shot by Connor Mills. And I think in Conor Mills's mind, he's a rightful undisputed British cruiserweight champion. But like you say, Robbie X will not be disrespected. He's here fighting for legacy. For so long, we talked about Robbie X as being one of the best kept secrets in British wrestling, one of British wrestling's young veterans. When we came back from lockdown, one of our first shows back, he went one-on-one with Will Ospreay. And it was a real eye-opener for Robbie X, because he realized he came close against the best wrestler in the world, and that fired him up. He got him motivated. He transformed his body. His cardio is unrecognizable to what it was before. He's increased his speed. He's diversified his offense. It makes him one of the most difficult opponents to compete against. He makes life uncomfortable for his opposition, and continually innovating, which makes him unpredictable. And that's what's led him to such success. And as you say, he's on 13 defenses. He'll be 14 if he's able to defeat Conor Mills at York Hall Bethnal Green. And that puts him 2 shy of Michael Oku's record. And we know Robbie X wants more than anything to not just equal, but to surpass that record of Michael Oku, and be a history maker, put his name in the history books in his own right, and continue to carve that legacy for himself. He calls himself the king of the cruiserweights, and he now wants the accolades to back up that title. So yeah, I think that, again, it's another one of those matches when you look at the two stylistically and you say Conor Mills versus Robbie X, yes please, but then you add all the bad blood, you add all the animosity, you add the sneak attacks, you add the disrespect, and it just turns it up a notch, doesn't it? And then you add the fact that it's in York Hall Bethnal Green, which, look, history's dripping off the walls. Everyone's so amped up to be competing at York Hall, and it just almost adds to the occasion, adds to the moment. And I think this Sunday's going to be no different. The Cruiserweight Championship is in the balance, but again, all questions will be answered. Conor Mills can have no excuses if he falls short on this one. I for one can't wait. Conor Mills in rare form right now, but look, as we've just said, so's Robbie X.
We're talking about championships. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about epic encounters. That brings us to our main event, arguably the biggest match in Revolution Pro Wrestling to date. The undisputed British Heavyweight Championship is on the line. The champion is the undefeated Dominator, Great-O-Khan, and he is going up against the man who has done everything in Revolution Pro Wrestling but win the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. He's looking for the Grand Slam. He's looking for the Grand Slam in the same building he made his Revolution Pro Wrestling debut in, against the same opponents, but so much has changed in those 5 years.
Yes. In those 5 years, Dominator Great-O-Khan has continued to go undefeated. So the more things change, perhaps the more they stay the same. 5 years undefeated in the United Kingdom for the Dominator Great-O-Khan. And Michael Oku has been on this just incredible journey that's seen him become a history maker. Much like the Great-O-Khan, he is on the brink of something very special. There's only been 2 men to have held the Triple Crown in Revolution Pro Wrestling. So Michael Oku could become only the 3rd man to be a Triple Crown holder in Revolution Pro Wrestling, but he also has the opportunity to stand on a mountain by himself as a 1 Grand Slam winner, the man who's won the British Tag Team Championship, the British Cruiserweight Championship, the Great British Tag League, the Revolution Rumble, and
British J Cup.
British J Cup, and so many accolades. It's hard to just reel them off. And now he's got the opportunity to add the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, the Grand Slam of Revolution Pro Wrestling. We like fairy tale endings in Revolution Pro Wrestling, as does any sane human being. However, as Michael Oku, so many times things have almost been set up, poised for that fairy tale ending for Michael Oku, and he's not got that. And he's had heartbreak. He's had setback after setback. But But one thing that personifies Oku is the way he's able to rebound from those setbacks. So listen, I don't necessarily think it's going to be the end of Michael Oku's journey if he doesn't get past the Dominator Great-O-Khan this Sunday at York Hall Bethnal Green. But the reality of the situation is, how perfectly is this poised? You know, same opponent, same venue, his undefeated streak, the chance to make history. Yeah, he's outsized. Yeah, he's outmatched. But when has that stopped Michael Oku? We've spoken about people like, for example, Luke Jacobs moving up to heavyweight. And we've spoken about how he added size onto his frame and he trimmed down for cruiserweight. Look at Dan Maloney going in the opposite direction. He's trimmed down to be a cruiserweight. Michael Oku stayed true to himself. And he's added some size, but he still is fundamentally a cruiserweight. But Michael Oku doesn't care about weight classes. Michael Oku does not know when to say the words "I quit." His heart is his biggest asset. And it's those characteristics that have led him to get to where he is today, where he is on the brink of doing something so special. And if the wrestling gods are looking down on him this Sunday, then it could be his night. But do not overlook the Great-O-Khan. Do not overlook the Legion. Do not overlook Gideon Grey. I'm sure they will take great pleasure in ruining Michael Oku's celebration, in not allowing that moment to happen. And they will want Dominator Great-O-Khan's undefeated streak to go on, not just for weeks or months to come, but for years to come. They will want him to finish in Revolution Pro Wrestling undefeated. And that is an achievement in its own right. You know, this is perfectly poised. We've seen so many men try to tackle the Great-O-Khan. A who's who in the world of professional wrestling have tried to tackle the Great-O-Khan in a Revolution Pro Wrestling ring. Many men have come close, but no man has been able to get that elusive 1, 2, 3 or submission. Is this going to be Michael Oku's night? You know, it doesn't get much bigger than this, does it? It's perfectly poised ahead of, you know, what promises to be the biggest show and the biggest summer in Revolution Pro Wrestling's history. You know, this is a crazy time, and it feels apt that, you know, this is one of the bookmarks on this journey. What can I say? Be there live, be a part of history. Michael Oku, Great-O-Khan, undefeated streak, and the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship is on the line. But Michael Oku right now feels like he's in a form like I've never seen him before. He's a mindset like I've never seen him before. And this could be his night.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's called Epic Encounters for a reason. 8 bangers, 8 matches that you're going to want to be able to say you saw live. Tickets available from revolutionprowrestling.com. And if you can't make it live, you'll have to live with that decision for the rest of your life, but you can watch it on RevProOnDemand.com. And as you said, Andy, this is leading into the biggest summer in Revolution Pro Wrestling history, our 11-year anniversary show on the 26th of August, live from the Copper Box Arena. It's our biggest show with our biggest and best roster to date. It's just a wonderful time to be a Revolution Pro Wrestling fan.
Absolutely, it is. And I just hope that as many people as possible can join us on this journey. We are a part of something very special right now. You know, I appreciate times are tough for people, but, you know, the support we've had over the previous few weeks, months in these difficult times has been absolutely fantastic. We're still very much alive and kicking. You know, you can see from that lineup that we absolutely mean business. We will reward your faith in us with world-class professional wrestling, and world-class professional wrestling is exactly what you're going to get this Sunday at York Hall, Bethnal Green, and I hope you can join us. I hope you can be there to see it in person, because as great as it is, don't get me wrong, RevProOnDemand.com is absolutely fantastic. It's a fantastic service. We love reliving moments. It's great to be able to keep up live to those shows that you can't make it to, but there's something so special about York Hall, Bethnal Green. There's something so special about the magic in the air, you know, the shape of a roof. It just keeps the sound in, and you know, it just, there's the buzz that you get from the feeling of the crowd is like nothing else, and being a part of that crowd, because from time to time, as you may have seen, you know, you and I become members of the crowd, you know, in those moments.
We completely lose ourselves in the moment.
And it's just contagious. It's like nothing else. The feeling is like nothing else. So if you can be there live this Sunday, York Hall, Bethnal Green. I can't do a harder sell than that. Look, you've seen the matches top to bottom. You've heard the rally cry. Now just get yourselves to York Hall this Sunday. It is going to be great. RevolutionProWrestling.com for your tickets.
And with that, thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Sunday.